begin in Sukhasana, which is easy seated pose. You may wish to place a block or a cushion or a blanket underneath your sitting bones, just to get yourself comfortable. And you may wish to place your hands on your knees, or you can place your palms on top of one another, and you can just sort of gently rest your palms in your lap. And then if it's comfortable for you to do so, just gently tuck your chin in, straighten the spine, and then just check your shoulders as well. Are your shoulders hunched, or your shoulders sort of a little bit more relaxed? So your shoulders might be a little bit hunched if you're sort of feeling a little bit tender stress. That's absolutely fine. So hopefully today's practice is just going to bring you that calm that you need for today. So if you're ready, comfortably and gently close your eyes, or just take a light gaze. And let's just begin by arriving in the space here and now in this moment. Just bringing your awareness now to any external sensations that are going on outside your body. Sounds, smells, temperature. And just witnessing, observing how you sort of interact with those. So do any sort of feelings arise when you take note of those? And I'd like you to leave any plans, lists, worries, concerns parked at the door. But I am aware as well that those things can pop up throughout the practice as well. So if you can park them, but if they arise, that's okay. Let them come and then let them go if you can. Now bringing your awareness now to your body and your mind, and just observing how you're feeling today. So maybe you're feeling relatively calm and relaxed, which is great. Or maybe you're feeling sort of a little bit stressed, a bit tender, and that's absolutely fine too. You know, we don't always feel good every single day. That's sort of the yin yang of life. And hopefully today's practice will ease out that sort of tension, stress, just through sort of gentle, relaxing poses. So just taking a moment now to scan from the head all the way down the neck, shoulders, the arms, the spine, pelvis, the legs and the feet, back up again. Just observing for any tension in the body and just taking note where you observe it, if there is any. And if there is any tension, are you aware of why that tension is there, or is there something that's happened in your day or something that's happened recently? And once you've just brought your awareness now to that tension, I'd like you to bring your awareness now to your natural rhythm and your breath here and now in this moment. And just begin by inhaling and exhaling in and out through the nose. And as you begin to inhale and exhale in and out the nose, your breath begins to deepen and slow. And as we deepen the breath and as the breath slows, we calm the central nervous system down. So the aim of a restorative yoga practice, which is what we're practicing this evening, is to calm the central nervous system down, whilst getting a relatively deep stretch targeting the fascia, which is that sort of thin layer that covers all of our muscles, that connects all the muscles in the body. And if your thoughts are already wondering which is natural. Just come back to observing your breath, maybe observing the inhalations and the exhalations in and out of the nostrils. Or you may wish to imagine that your thoughts are like clouds in a deep blue sky. Let the clouds float away if you can. Let those thoughts float away. So don't attach onto them. Don't try to push them away. Just let go if that's possible. Or you can imagine that your thoughts are like waves in an ocean. The wave comes and the wave goes. Now bringing your awareness now to your nostrils, inhaling and exhaling in and out through the nose. And then bring your awareness now to your throat as you inhale, the air passes down through the throat. And then bring your awareness to the chest, noticing the air moving into the chest and then the belly. And then as you exhale, that belly draws in, the chest contracts. You notice the air traveling up the throat and then out of the nostrils. And just take a few moments now just to observe this steady practice. As you inhale, observe the nostrils, observe the throat, observe the chest, and observe the belly. And are you able to slow your breath as you do this? Maybe inhaling for 4 seconds. And see if you can exhale for 5 or 6 seconds. And then again, just taking note of anything that arises in the body and the mind. And see if you're able now to add a pause in between your inhalations and your exhalations, maybe pausing for 2 seconds. And again, taking this time to observe anything that arises in the pause, or is the mind still in that pause? And then gently come back to normal rhythmic breathing. Just observing how you are here and now. And today's practice is focused around the 4th niyama, which is one of the sort of ethical guidelines in yoga, svadhyana, which means self-study. So understanding ourselves, understanding the body, understanding the mind, understanding the breath, and maybe even understanding the soul. And we can sort of learn to understand ourselves through observing our thoughts, observing our actions, observing our feelings, observing our emotions, and observing our sleep. So what would happen if we were to take note of those things in our everyday lives? It's quite a lot to take note of, right? And when you're ready, very gently open your eyes. And let's get ready for our practice this evening. I'd like you all to begin in child's pose, Balasana. So if you've got some cushions handy, we're going to get into a nice sort of relaxed form of Balasana, child's pose. So I like to have 3 pillows in front of me. And then you've got the option here to take a wide-legged child's pose as well. Draw your navel in towards your spine. And then exhale, fold forward. You can stretch your arms out in front of you, or you can bring your arms out to your side. And then breathe and just gently sink into your pillows. Letting that body sink, let the breath sink and slow. And just noticing the gentle stretch on your back. Maybe feeling a gentle stretch in your hips as well. And just feeling the benefit of child's pose, which essentially is a very calming pose for the central nervous system. And just taking note of your inhalations and your exhalations in and out through the nose. Maybe taking note of the belly breath as well, breathing in and out through the nose. Sorry, in and out through the belly. And just hold and breathe. Deep inhalation in and out through the nose. Just let the body relax. And maybe take this moment to study self-study. So really begin to take note of thoughts that arise. And wonder why those thoughts arise. Sometimes when we're feeling anxious or worried, we like to mull things over to our mind. Sometimes when we're planning, kind of organising things in our mind, to mull around for a bit. But sometimes when we add a language to the thoughts, that can sort of help ease those thoughts as well. And sometimes just understanding that thoughts arise because of that primitive monkey mind. And that's absolutely normal and natural. We all have those sort of thoughts that go from one thing to the next, and then sometimes to nothing as well. So the less attention we pay to those thoughts, the easier it is for us to get into a meditative state. Now very slowly, come back up onto your knees and just move your pillows to the side for a moment. Coming into Virasana, which is hero pose. Okay. And actually, we're just going to, before we move into the full hero pose, I'd like us just to give our toes a little bit of a stretch. So I find this tends to be really nice. So if you come to kneeling on your toes and then sit your bottom back on your heels, and we're just going to spend just a few moments here, just stretching out those toes so we can get a bit of stiffness in the toes as well, just generally wearing shoes from day to day doesn't really help us to exercise the muscles of the feet. So this is really nice to practice if you sort of get stiffness in your toes, or just generally nice to practice this as well. So this is quite strong. If you at any point now feel you need to come out, feel free to do so. Just coming back into Virasana, just sitting on the top of your feet. And just breathe, just gazing ahead. So I'd really like you to use this restorative practice also as a form of meditation. So it's a form of moving meditation. So meditation is just about sort of being present in the moment here and now. We can do that by observing our body and our breath in our practice. It doesn't just mean to sort of sit still in a sort of meditative pose. You know, we can practice meditation throughout the day in lots of different forms, really. Breathe. And again, you know, if you find that your thoughts become distracted, just take your awareness to that belly breath. So as you breathe, the belly draws out, noticing the lower back contracts. As you exhale, the belly draws in, the lower back relaxes. And then you've got contraction of the diaphragm as well as you breathe in. And then as you exhale, it relaxes. So you may now wish to, my toes are getting a little bit sort of feeling a little bit of tension now. So I'm going to release that back down. And you may actually wish to place a pillow sort of just beneath your bottom. That just makes it extra comfy, really. So just, yeah, again, you know, this restorative practice is really about finding poses that really feel good for you, that are going to help you stretch but in a relaxed sort of state. So then from here, I'd like you to take your hands behind your back. And what I'd like you to do is, if I show you from the side, interlock your hands behind your back and draw the shoulder blades in towards one another and really open up the chest, and then gaze ahead and then breathe. So I've got a bit of a sort of a stiff neck, shoulder at the moment, so really using the sort of poses to sort of open up that chest and drawing the shoulder blades in towards one another is sort of actively engaging the muscles on the back there. And again, if you've been sat at a desk or slumped over today, this is a really nice practice to work on. And just breathe. And again, if at any point you feel like you need to come out of the pose, you can feel free to do so. And you can come into child's pose at any time that feels good for you. Keep breathing, noticing the breath, noticing the mind, noticing the body. Reminding yourself of that self-study, studying ourselves. Becoming the expert of yourself. Just taking the time, finding a point to focus on. Or you may wish to close the eyes as well. That's absolutely fine too. And then very gently release those arms. Okay. And then just bring your hands to heart center for a moment. So just counterposing, that sort of gentle stretch on the shoulders. Breathe. So yeah, what you can do is you can just push your sort of thumbs in towards your sternum as well. If you're not quite sure about where to place it, that's fine. Really breathing into the belly. And then as you exhale, draw that belly in towards the spine, the front spine. You're drawing that navel in and up. And then very slowly release. And we're going to come into Gomukhasana, cow face pose. So there's a couple of options that you can work with here. So if you just place your left leg down and bend it, and then you can place your right leg over the top. So yeah, your sort of right ankle and your right leg are sort of in line with that knee. That's option one that you can work with, and see if you can bring both sitting bones down on the ground. If you are very flexible in the hips, you may be able to stack both knees over top of one another, and then see if you can bring your feet, the soles of your feet are going to be pointing basically towards the back of the room. So this is option two. This is the full pose, but that might be too strong for you. So you can just either bring that leg over the top so it's in line with the knee. If that's too much, you can just bring that leg in front of you there. So 3 options to work with. And if you can't get both sitting bones down on the ground, that's absolutely fine too. Again, just work with what feels right for you. As another option, actually, if you do want to have a go at sort of stacking both legs, but you can't bring that knee down, you can always place a block. If I just get a block, actually, you can place a block sort of here at this point too. So just a couple of things you can work on. Okay. And then from here, I'd like you to bring your left arm up, and then your right arm underneath. Your right arm goes underneath your left, and then wrap your right arm around the left, and then bring the palms together. And then see if you can take an inhalation and bring your elbows in line with your shoulders. And then breathe, just looking straight ahead. So again, we're working on those shoulders. And we're working on the hips here. So this is quite strong on the left hip. Particularly working on that right shoulder, but they're working the left shoulder too, working on those deltoid muscles. And breathe. Breathing into the belly. Breathing into the chest, breathing into the throat. See if you can breathe into all 3. Throat, chest, belly. And again, if your arms get tired at any point, you can just gently release those as well. Remember, this is your practice. This practice is here to serve you, so listen to your body, and if something doesn't feel right, you can just very gently ease out when you need to. But also the aim of holding the poses for longer is that we are working at a deeper level, working on the fascia, but also working on the nervous system. And then very gently exhale, release those arms down. Okay. Then I'd like you to swap your legs. So now you're dropping the right knee down onto the ground. And then so that first option was to bring the right knee, the right leg over the top of the left leg over the top of the right. That's option 1. Option 2, you could stack that left leg over the top of the right with the soles of the feet both pointing towards the back of the room. And then just noticing where your sitting bones are. And then from here, you're going to bring the right arm up and then the left arm underneath Wrap that left arm around the right and then bring the elbows up, and then you're bringing the palms sort of together as well, and then breathe. Breathing into the belly, breathing into the chest, breathing into the throat. Again, noticing where you feel this stretch. You're going to probably be feeling this quite strongly in the left shoulder, internally rotating that shoulder. And again, you know, taking note of any thoughts that arise and just maybe observing what thoughts they are. And maybe could you label those thoughts as well? Place those thoughts in a little box and then just put them to the side. Keep breathing, slow, deep breath. Inhaling and exhaling out the mouth. Doing really well, guys. And again, just taking this time to meditate and be mindful in your practice. And then very slowly exhale and release those arms. And you may just wish to gently roll those shoulders as well. So just maybe drawing circles with your elbows as well. Moving the arms forward a couple of times. And then in the opposite direction. And then very gently release. Bringing the soles of your feet together into Baddha Konasana. So you may wish to place your pillows underneath your knees if the knees can't quite drop to the ground. Or if you've got blocks, you can place the blocks like so underneath each knee if you've got to. So just a couple of things you can work with. Okay. Making sure both sitting bones are on the ground, wrapping your hands around your feet. Take a deep inhalation through the nose. Really spread those legs as comfortably as you can, feeling a good stretch in the deep hips. So really working on the sort of the hip flexors, which include the piriformis muscle, the psoas muscle. And then when you're ready, very slowly, exhale, draw your navel in towards your spine and just begin to fold forward. You can round your back here and just come as far forward as is comfortable for you. And then breathe. So see if you can take note of any sort of emotional sensations that may arise in the body. So we tend to store a lot of emotional energy in our hips. So if there are any sort of emotions that arise, just maybe take note of the emotion and maybe recognize that maybe that emotion has arisen because there's a certain need that you might need. There's something you need, or maybe a need isn't being met in a certain way. And just breathe. Breathing into those deep hips, breathing into the belly. And if your thoughts start to wander, just come back to the belly breath. Come back to observing the body. And if there is any sort of sensation, so any sort of tension in those hips from this stretch, see if you can breathe into that tension. And then breathe out that tension through the mouth. And then very slowly inhale, come all the way up. Maybe drawing the knees up gently. And then hug those knees in towards your chest. Okay. We're going to move into Janushirasana. So I'd like you to extend out your left leg and then then place your right foot onto your left thigh. I hope you can see that. Okay, and then just dropping that right knee down onto the ground. If your right knee doesn't come all the way down onto the ground, you can just place it on a block as well. And then I'd like you to sort of slightly micro bend your torso so that your torso is in line with that left leg. So the torso is facing that left leg. And then I'd like you to engage that left leg as well, just for a moment. Flex that foot as well. Bring the point the toes towards you. Okay. And if you have got your pillows handy as well, you can place those pillows on your leg now. So we're going to fold forward over this leg. Okay. So once you've got your pillows handy and ready, take a deep inhalation through the nose. And then exhale, draw your belly in towards your spine, draw that navel in and up, and then just begin to lower your forehead onto your pillows, and then just stretch your arms out either side. And then breathe, and then you can let that leg relax as well. So we're just getting a subtle stretch on the hamstring and the calf here, but also on the back too, and those shoulders. And again, breathing into the belly. And just taking this moment now to observe the mind, the body, and the breath. Are they present in this moment here and now? Or are they wandering? Is the breath wandering? Is the mind wandering? Is the body wandering? And again, take note of any sort of emotions that arise. So taking this opportunity to self-study. If there are emotions arising, what emotions are they? Is there a need that is not being met? Breathing in and out through the nose, enjoying the pose, enjoying the practice. And then very slowly inhale, come up. Just bring the pillows just to the side for a moment. Just draw that knee in towards your chest for a moment. And then stretch out the right leg. And then bring the left foot in towards the right thigh. Okay. And again, if you need to place a block underneath that left knee, feel free to do so. And then sort of micro bend. So you're taking a slight micro twist now so that that torso is facing that right leg. So actively engage and flex that right foot. Keep the spine straight as well. And then place those pillows now over that leg. Okay. Take a deep inhalation through the nose, breathe in. And then exhale, begin to fold forward. And as you're folding forward, tuck that belly in. And then bring your forehead to your pillows and then stretch your arms out as well. Just so they're either side of your calf. And then just breathe, really sink into the pose. And don't worry too much about keeping that spine straight, as this is the restorative version of this pose. And breathe. Sinking into the pose, sinking into the mat. Just taking this time to really feel your body, feel the breath, feel the mind. This is your practice. Get to know your body, your breath, and your mind. And very slowly, inhale, come all the way up. Just gently placing your pillows to the side. Okay. Just coming into a cross-legged pose as well. Just crossing the knees. We're just going to counter pose. So taking an inhalation, raise the arms so they're in line with the ears. And then exhale, bring your right hand to your left knee. Exhale, look over the left shoulder. Really twisting into the spine though. So when we've done quite a few forward folds, really nice to counter pose with a twist just to reset the spine. And then inhale, raise the arms back up to center. And then exhale, bring that left hand onto the right knee. Exhale, look over that right shoulder, really exhaling into that twist. Breathe. So really twisting from the upper spine essentially, which is from the rib cage upwards. Breathe. And then inhale, raise those arms. Exhale, release. And then from here, I'd like us to all come into tabletop. Okay, so just making sure that your hands directly below your shoulders, really spread those fingers, bringing your weight into your fingertips, making sure your knees are directly below your hips. And just checking that your sacrum is sort of relatively flat. And when the sacrum is sort of relatively flat, the pelvis is neutral. Okay, and we're just going to take a couple of cat cows. So in cow, we stick the bottom out, drop the belly, tilt the head back, take an inhalation. Exhale, draw the navel in towards the spine, tuck the tailbone in, drop the crown of the head. Inhale back to cow, drop the belly, tilt the head back. Drawing that the lower rib cage in as well. Exhale, drop the crown of the head, tuck the tailbone in, round that back, draw that navel in. Inhale back to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. And then come back to center. Then from here, taking an inhalation, raise that left arm up with the left palm facing the left-hand side of the room, moving into thread the needle. And then exhale, begin to lower that arms and then thread that arm through so it just comes underneath that right arm. Then drop the left shoulder and the left cheek to the ground. So you may wish to actually use your block either on your shoulder or on your cheek, or you may wish to place a pillow there. I'll just demonstrate actually. So thread that through and then you can drop your head down onto the ground or the pillow or the block. And then breathe and hold. Just noticing the twist from the upper part of the spine, noticing the gentle compression in the chest, but also noticing the stretch over that left shoulder. And then breathe and hold. Okay, yep, you're all doing good. Keep breathing and again taking note of any sensations that arise in the body here and now in this moment, any sensations that arise in the breath, any sensations that arise in the mind. So can we sometimes pay too much attention to sensations that are going on in the body, for example, mind sensations? And what if we were to take our attention away from those sensations and bring our attention to that stillness? What would happen if we would do that? So very slowly pushing up into the right hand. Inhale, raise that left arm back up again. And then exhale, lower that hand all the way down. And you may just want to give that right wrist just a little bit of a stretch, just circling the wrist for a moment. Okay, and bringing your weight now into that left hand, into the fingertips, taking an inhalation, raising the right arm up with the right palm facing the right hand side of the room. And then exhale, drop that arm down, thread it through, dropping the right shoulder and the right cheek to the ground. So just gently twisting from the rib cage, but also gently compressing that right shoulder and the right chest too. And then breathe. And again, taking note of the self-study. And just thinking about our actions. Where do our actions come from? And how do our actions affect the people around us? And how do those actions affect us too? Keep breathing into the belly. Breathing into that twist, the detoxifying twist. Gently meditating in the practice. Be here and now. And very slowly pushing into the left hand, come back up. Inhale, raise that right arm up. Exhale, release. So if your pillow's in front of you, just move that to the side and then sliding onto your belly, coming into Sphinx pose. So dropping your elbows so they're just roughly in line with the shoulders, or they can just be slightly further ahead. Forearms are on the ground, stretching the hands, and then bring your feet, your legs, so that they're at the width of the mat. And lifting that chest, dropping those shoulders, looking straight ahead, and breathe. So you're getting a gentle sort of stretch, a back bend stretch in Sphinx pose. If that's too strong for you now, if you're really feeling that in your lower back, you can just bring your palms on top of one another and move into Makrasana, which is crocodile pose. And again, take this opportunity now just for a moment of reflection on Svalayana, self-study, and just have a moment to think about our speech and where do our words come from, and how do our words affect ourselves, but also the people around us. And can having sort of positive or negative words, can that change our reality? Can that change our perspective? And then very slowly, if you're not in Makrasana, bring your palms on top of one another. And then exhale, dropping your forehead now onto your palms. So you're just releasing those shoulders now, and you're releasing that chest down onto the ground. And just taking this time now just to really breathe into the belly. And as you breathe into the belly, just noticing the belly pushing against the mat. And as it pushes against the mat, just notice how the lower back contracts. And then as you exhale, just notice how that lower back lowers and relaxes. And just by sort of bringing our attention continuously to the synchronization of our breath with our belly and our back, just really brings us into the present moment, here and now. And this is a practice, a form of self-study. So very gently, just relaxing now. Noticing the belly and the breath. And the stillness of the breath, you've got that stillness of the mind. And then when you're ready, very gently rolling onto your back. And we've just got one more final pose now to move into before we move into Shavasana. So come to lying on your back. I'd like you to have your heels in towards your buttocks. And then I'd like you to place your left foot on top of your right knee. Okay. And then are you able to take an inhalation and then wrap your hands around your right thigh? And then as you wrap your hands around your right thigh, are you able to draw that right thigh towards you? And then what would happen if you were to push your left knee away from you? And then lifting that right leg up a little bit as well, so it's in line with the knee. So again, we're just working on that hip area now of the left hip, working on that psoas muscle. And then keep those shoulders back and down. Really lengthen the spine, lengthen the tailbone. And so we're just doing a really nice pose just to work on that hip area. Breathe. Breathing into the belly. Breathing into the chest. Breathing into the throat. And again, if you need to come out of this pose at any time, feel free to do so. And then very gently exhale, release the hands, drop that right foot to the ground, maybe drawing the left knee in towards you and just extending out that right leg for a moment. And then release that left leg, maybe just gently stretching out that left leg for a moment. Then drawing the right knee in. Okay. Drawing the left knee in. And then placing the right foot now on top of the left knee. Okay. Take an inhalation, wrap your hands around your thigh, your left thigh. And then press your right knee away from you. So you're working on opening that hip area of the right hip flexors. Then see if you can bring that left leg, the lower left leg, so it's in line with the knee, maybe flexing the foot too, and then breathe. Keep that keep the length of the back extended and long, pressing the shoulder blades into the ground. Breathe. Breathing into the belly. So we're just doing a nice supine pigeon pose. Supta Rajakapotanasana. And then when you're ready, very gently releasing everything down to the ground. Maybe just gently drawing that right knee in for a moment as well. Maybe drawing both knees in actually. Take an inhalation, draw your forehead towards your knees. And then exhale, releasing, letting everything go now, coming into Shavasana, horse pose. So if you've got a blanket handy and you want to cover yourself, this is your opportunity to do that now. You can also place a pillow directly below your head. If you find it uncomfortable to lie for long periods of time with your legs completely flat because that's creating tension in your lower spine, just draw your knees up and let the knees fall towards one another and bring your feet out that width, the width distance of the mat. And again, just coming back now to that space we were in at the start. Bringing your awareness to the external sensations that are going on outside the body. The sounds in the room, maybe sounds outside of the room. The temperature. And smell. And maybe just observing how those sort of are making you feel now. And then bringing your awareness now to your body. Just observing how the body's feeling now compared to the start of the practice. And then taking this moment to scan from the head all the way down to the feet and back up again. Just observing for any remaining tension. So maybe you had tension in a particular place and maybe there's still a little bit of that remaining. I'd like to take a deep inhalation through the nose. And then exhale out that tension through the mouth. Deep inhalation through the nose. And then exhale out that tension through the mouth. One more time, deep inhalation through the nose. Exhale out that tension through the mouth. And as any remaining tension leaves the body, it begins to relax and sink into the ground. And as the body relaxes, The breath relaxes, and so does the mind. And just take this time now just to be here and now, lying in Shavasana. I'm going to repeat this mantra, which you can use just in this meditative Shavasana. As you inhale, repeat yourself so. As you exhale, repeat yourself hum. As you inhale, repeat yourself so. As you exhale, repeat yourself hum. So hum essentially is the Sanskrit for I am. I am one with the universe. So if you at any point find that your mind starts to wander, just start repeating that mantra with your inhalations and your exhalations. And now just use this time for you here and now. Your breath is deep, smooth, and continuous. There are no pauses, no jerks, and no irregularities. The breath is calm, the body is calm, and the mind is calm. Slowly bringing your awareness now back to your body. Just taking this moment just to feel. And very gently begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Rotating the wrists. Rotating the ankles. Stretching the arms overhead. Taking a full body stretch. Maybe drawing the knees in towards your chest. Maybe gently rolling the head from side to side. Maybe gently rolling out on the back. And then when you're ready, very gently rolling over onto the right hand side into a recovery position, using your right arm as a pillow. Very gently pushing into your left hand. Come up into a seated pose, Sukhasana, easy seated pose. Maybe keeping the eyes closed, gently rolling the shoulders back and down, gently tucking the chin in. Bringing your palms together, rubbing the hands, creating warmth, creating energy. Placing the palms over your face, feeling that warmth, feeling that energy. Gently open your eyes, gazing into the darkness, gazing into stillness, gazing into peace, gazing into self-study and self-awareness. Bringing your hands to heart center. Namaste, and thank you for practicing with me this evening. I hope you enjoyed.